I promise eventually we'll stop talking about this story, but it just keeps taking more twists and turns. I'm only the messenger. Here is maybe Elon's, I don't know if you can, nearly the craziest meltdown now he's having up there. And it's at Steve Bannon as he's taking some very weird steps in relation to his Trump accusations. I'll give you all the updates. But now Elon has set his sights on Trump ally Steve Bannon, posting things like, Bannon is a criminal who oozes evil from his face like a disease. And this, of course, is Steve Bannon. To Elon Musk's credit, Steve Bannon does look like a movie villain. I never understand if you look the way that Steve Bannon looks and if you say the things that he says. I'm not saying he looks bad, but he says bad things and he has a look. Whatever that look might be. I don't know why then these folks will lean into it like they want to be seen as a villain. He wears all black, which is fine, but definitely adds to the aesthetic. And he has pins on him at all times, mini pins, and he wears 6 layers at all times for some reason. And he's just a special guy. He's a real special, fun, unique person. And then calls for the heads of Fauci to be put on pikes outside the White House, right? So he's just wild. But Elon Musk escalated even further. We'll look at what Bannon's been saying, but there's a media article out about this. Elon Musk melts down across series of tweets attacking Bannon. And let me just read you some of the quotes. I'm going to read these verbatim. Again, I'm only the messenger, so just chill. Calling the former Trump advisor a criminal and a, quote, communist retard, among other insults, the Tesla and SpaceX CEO repeatedly accused Bannon of criminality, writing comments on X such as, Bannon advocates crime because he is a criminal. In another post, Musk declared Bannon is a criminal, then escalated his language, calling him a communist retard, and writing 3 separate times, Bannon is peak retard. And you can see he keeps responding to all sorts of Bannon things with phrases such as that. Then Bannon said of Musk, they should initiate a formal investigation of his immigration status because I am of the strong belief that he is an illegal alien and he should be deported from the country immediately. Now, setting slurs aside or whatever, communist? Steve Bannon's a communist? Does that word even mean anything anymore? I don't know. But here's what Bannon's been saying about Elon. And then I'll show you the craziest thing Elon has done in this whole process. It doesn't make any sense.
So you ask Josh, every time he talks to him, he mentions that. Every time I was talking to him last night, we're talking about the weekend and what he's up to. Because as you know right now, he's having is it a discussion? We'll get to that in a second. President just did say, though, on Air Force One, he was going to review all the contracts. I'm just saying. Just saying.
That's one moment, and then the other.
But that's different than Elon coming in and saying, kill the bill. Yo, dude, right, we can't kill it. You got to work with the system to be able to change it. And we need more cuts, but I would say, man, you promised $1 trillion in waste, fraud, and abuse, and you came up with nothing. Nothing.
That's a MAGA guy. We've been saying that. But that's a MAGA guy saying Elon got nothing. He contributed to the loss of life of thousands of people, as we analyze in this segment with the wonderful Brittany Page, but he did not actually uproot fraud or waste in the government. So all of that's happening. Before giving you the big part, please do click the subscribe button. I know, that's so tacky. But a man's gotta make a living. Okay. But after all this, Elon then goes on to delete the original post. The one that was time to drop the real bomb. Trump is in the Epstein files. That's the real reason they have not been made public. Have a nice day, DJT. Whatever, I just said that. Wait. You can't delete it. You could have never posted it in the first place. Deleting it? As if now people aren't like, oh, whoops, I'm going to delete it. And then people won't notice it after it got millions of views and everyone was talking about it. Elon Musk scrubs Trump Epstein attacks from X as Trump threatens payback. So maybe Trump scared him into submission.
Elon Musk deleted a number of social media posts attacking President Donald Trump Saturday that were shared with his 200 million X followers. I hope they didn't see it. At the beginning of their public feud on Thursday. That now absent post originally said what I just read to you. It's gone now. And then other things like I'll apologize profusely as soon as there is a full dump of the Epstein files. Deleted, wiped. The New York Post reporting Elon Musk deletes tweet claiming Trump was in the Epstein files and first sign of feud de-escalation. Well, this is clearly the sign of a either scared or mentally unstable both person who is not wanting Trump to cut off all of his contracts, even as much as he said, make my day, Trump, I don't care. He does care. His whole business was fueled off of support from the government, but cut all of the spending. And so that does scare him. And Trump, as we've seen, this is a bad thing from him, but it was about to get fun for us. There is no length he won't go to punish people who have even barely spoken out against him, much less connected him to Epstein. So I guess Elon's scared, but this also, everyone's drug stuff is flying around. This is very strange behavior. You can see this post. 3 of his posts are just gone now of things he was saying about Trump. That is regret. That is post late night. Every normal person without a problem has maybe had a couple too many margaritas and then sent a text that you didn't not me. I've never done this before. Other people I've heard have done this before where they send a text. Hey, boo thing, right? What you up to? Not me. Other people have done this. I've heard. And then they wake up and they go, ooh, which is why I guess iMessage now allows you to delete texts. In case you have that post, drink, drug, etc., regret, as I guess Elon is having now. But that works when you'd say, hey, honey, what you up to? At 1:45 a.m. It works to go, whoops. Delete. My bad. But accusing someone of being or alluding to someone being a pedo, you have to stand by that. I've gotten back into true crime, whatever. Some people are judgmental of that. I don't care. And you'll hear these stories of someone who kills their entire family and then dismembers them. Very nice nighttime listening. And then puts it in an attic, their body parts. And then a day later goes to the police and admits to it. What? When you were chopping apart your own blood and tucking it into an attic, how is it that during all of that you didn't stop yourself? But then after the fact, you have enough guilt to go admit to it. At that point, can you at least try to get away with it? Please don't murder people. If you do, let's put a little effort into it. Or these people will go and leave the murder weapon at the site with their fingerprints on it. What was this for then? Were you even trying to get away with it? You'll have people who spent days not understanding that a normal fire doesn't burn this is disgusting, but doesn't burn a human body. And they'll be trying and days are passing by and they're trying to get rid of the evidence. And then they just go tell 6 people in a bar that they killed somebody. If you're gonna do that, be ready to stand by it. Dig your heels in. Obviously, not seriously go admit to it if you ever do something bad like that. But shut up. Stand by it. Have the backbone. See, this is what I'm upset about with our society. Murderers don't have a backbone anymore. They're not determined. America's become so, this is what TikTok is doing to people, right? People always have these short dopamine hits. And so they don't know what it means to be determined, to be dedicated to something, to really spend the time to get away with the murder.
Because what was it for if now you're just going to go to jail for the whole time? Again, in reality, admit to it. Speaking of murder, we've become such a wussy society. Back in my day, when you killed somebody, you got away with it. But now, you spend 2.5 weeks, according to some of these true crime stories, trying to get rid of the evidence, and then you get drunk once and tell your entire neighborhood that you did it, and then go to jail for the rest of your life. I wish for a time where we had more high value alpha murderers. See, this is the thing that I learned from watching Andrew Tate. Everyone's become so beta.
What up, beta?
Exactly. Like Doug Imhoff, because Charlie Kirk whispered under his breath that he was a beta and he crushed him, he owned him, he destroyed him. Yes. And so it used to be that when you murdered your entire family, you would really believe in that. Like you would really justify it to yourself. But now men have become so weak and flimsy, right? Limp-wristed, that immediately they admit to it. And it's sad. So similarly, if you're going to accuse Trump of being a pedo, stand by that. That's my real point. That may have gotten lost. Dig your heels in. Similar to the man who's digging a 6-foot grave, and that whole time he's doing it, he's not thinking, maybe I shouldn't be doing this. But then later goes and has guilt about it. Elon, in the process of typing out that tweet about a bombshell thing about the president, why didn't you have any restraint then? But now you're going to delete it? Like a beta? Oh, we have fun. Musk on Thursday launched a barrage of X posts against the president, and they're now deleted. But in response, Trump said that's called old news. That's been old news. That has been talked about for years. Even Epstein's lawyer said I had nothing to do with it. It's old news. I think that's the type of news that doesn't ever really get old, but but all right. See, it's like The Office. Like I watched that 100,000 times. As many times as people bring up that connection, it's still a notable connection. But then NBC's reporting that Trump says Elon Musk will face very serious consequences if he funds Democratic candidates. In an interview with NBC News, the president also said he assumes his relationship with the tech billionaire is over following their recent fallout. I think it's over. And then I told you a little bit about the physical confrontation that Elon got into, and I didn't realize that there was more to it. So Scott said to Elon, Scott's Bannon, the Treasury Secretary, "You're a fraud. You're a total fraud." And then Musk rammed his shoulder into Besson's rib cage like a rugby player. And then Besson hit him back. Is that where he got the black eye? Multiple people stepped in to break up the scrum as the two men reached the National Security Advisor's office and Musk was shuffled out of the West Wing. Can you imagine? You better be happy that he's holding me back. I would rip off your head if I could get closer to you. Two of the strangest speakers in the world who never raise their voice. You better be happy that they're holding me back. As I heard a soy boy say, if I murdered you, I would get away with it. I think that's how they sound. And then I haven't even mentioned this, but Elon posted, or I briefly mentioned it and pinned to his profile, a poll for his audience saying, should we have a third party that represents the middle of the country? And 80% of the respondents said yes. And so then Elon's floating the idea of the America Party. Here's the thing, though. Elon doesn't have the it factor. MAGA liked him because he was funding Trump and he was buying X and whatever, but he doesn't have that cult of personality that Trump has. So this is a completely irrelevant endeavor. And people can choose. This is what breaks my heart. I'm not against the third party thing. I've told you before, we'd have to make structural changes to our electoral system to make that at all viable. And those changes would have to be made by the parties. So you would have to get Democrats elected, most likely, who are willing to change some of our systems such that third parties would even be feasible. But, so it's a longer process than just let's run Jill Stein again. Yes, it's going to do it. We're going to do it this time. No. Or even Elon with all of his money, it still wouldn't work, most likely. It wouldn't work. Because in some crazy world where you could get a third party candidate elected, you would have to have the biggest, most charismatic celebrity, cult of personality type figure to do that. But this is what people don't understand. We are the people, right? We are the people. We the people, someone once said somewhere. I think that's from Hamilton. And to quote Hamilton, we the people. And and that is for some deep cut listeners, that is a Trisha Paytas reference, just so you know, to really go into the B side of the record. But the people can decide how radical the parties are. So right now, I don't think it's rational for people to support Republican candidates. Does that mean all the Democrats are good? No, most of them are bad. Not bad, but they're not great. So you can, it would take less effort to just make one of the parties what you want it to be collectively as people, if we really want a more moderate, whatever that means, party, than starting a whole new one. Because this is what cracks me up. Elon's respondents are probably mostly supporters of Trump. I think we can all fairly say. So if 80% of the people who responded to his poll said, I want a centrist party, those are the same people going and voting for Trump, who has radicalized the Republican Party. So I get kind of tired of this. No, you know what? I don't know if anyone's ever thought of this. What if, okay, wait, you know how we're divided? What if someone said, I'm neither of them, pick me, and then we all united around that? Okay, but we could always do that all the time whenever in primaries. But people don't go out to vote in the primaries for the candidates that are more rational sometimes, depending. Republican Party's worse, but you get the point. So it's the same voter base. We keep going through this same argument with everyone. Oh, we could really, what would really solve it is if we just got rid of this whole thing, Republican, Democrat, and we just said not sideways, not left, right, but forward, like the Andrew Yang thing. But who is going left and right? People are. So until the people start voting, guess what? You have other options in primaries, but most of you don't go out and vote for them. So that's why we get the candidates that we get. So how about you start by making the parties that exist where you want them to be, instead of giving all the power to the people who are the most active, who sometimes, especially in the Republican Party, are the most extreme, and then go from there. Share your thoughts in the comments.